Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down Miami each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And if you want to get your anger up and get a lather going, Miami fans, you watch us at 7 o'clock talk about Florida State.
Boo.
That helps support the channel. You watch some Florida State football, you keep an eye on the rival, right? That's what you need to do. Let's get those Florida State numbers up at 7 o'clock. And then if you really want to get a historic lather up, you stay tuned for some Ohio State talk at 9 o'clock.
I am a native Michigander. Absolutely. TF not. I refuse. And you know, at my old apartment, I had the picture of Michigan Stadium, the big house, from a game behind me. Like, I grew up as a Michigan fan. I'm a native Michigander. I went to Miami, obviously. And I was here in this house in Fort Lauderdale watching that Fiesta Bowl robbery. Nope. And look, if you have people who, want to watch and support, I openly invite them to do that. But me, myself, personally, I respectfully decline such an invitation.
Hey, Cam, I instantly thought of you this week. Did you see the several editions on NFL Live? Now, I did not see it to be able to comment on the rundown that they had. Obviously, it's a time of year with training camp just coming up in about a week or so for the NFL camps, or maybe they've come to camp at this point, but basically not a whole lot of news out of camp. So they were sizing up, and I don't even know where this bracket style breakdown started, but at the point that I picked it up, and again, I didn't hear any of the analysis. I saw it on monitors all over the place.
Okay. They
were breaking down the biggest NFL college football factories of all time. And I saw the Final Four as USC, Alabama, Ohio State, Miami. I don't know if they started with 48 or 24, what they did, but they got down to those four.
Right.
I don't know if you saw any of that.
I did. And, people were, obviously posting the screenshots on Twitter and everything. So here's the all-time Miami team that ESPN came up with. You're on offense: Jim Kelly, Edgerrin James, Frank Gore, Michael Irvin, Andre Johnson, Jeremy Shockey, Bryant McKinney, Eric Winston, Jim Otto, who's a little older but still was a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Joaquin Gonzalez, because Joaquin said dominate, and Leon Searcy. On defense, Warren Sapp, Cortez Kennedy, Vince Wilfork, Calais Campbell, Ray Lewis, Jonathan Vilma, Ted Hendricks, Hall of Famer, Sean Taylor, the late great, Antrell Roll, Philip Buchanan, and Ed Reed. That was the first team. And then somebody hopped in my mentions, Mark Ardois, and he said, okay, here's the second team. And I'm just going to highlight guys on the second Miami team: Bernie Kosar, Willis McGahee, Reggie Wayne and Santana Moss, Greg Olson, Vernon Carey, Brett Romberg, Kenny Holmes, Jerome Brown, Russell Maryland, Michael Barrow, Armstead, Morgan. That was the second team. Here's the third team that Mark Ardois also sent to me: Ken Dorsey is quarterback, Duke Johnson and Alonzo Highsmith, Lamar Thomas and Brett Perriman, Bubba Franks, Richard Mercier, Cristobal, Bibla, Flowers, who was the number 8 overall pick. I know that he hasn't been great in the NFL. Greg Mark and Jerome McDougal at defensive end, Mike Rumpf, Kelly Jennings, Mo Sykes, Winston Moss at a linebacker. Like, the depth is ridiculous. And on the list that ESPN put up on the screen, the amount of talent that was left off of that list is ridiculous. And look, that was 3 teams of offense and nary a mention of Heisman Trophy winner and 22-year NFL veteran Vinny Testaverde.
Or Gino Torretta, Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback.
Yo, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, the answer is this: y'all can debate whatever you want.
One condition and disclaimer as we put a wrap on the whole bracket of the best football factories that has to be taken into consideration is that ESPN, for all of its research and so forth, is putting on a TV show. So they can't really put the advanced metrics that you would to really do a valid job of going through the layers and layers and then outlining, which I'm sure they did verbally to a certain extent. Are we rating all these players as college players or as NFL players or some combination of both?
I will hop in here. It was a combination. Yep. They did put the rubric up on the screen. I saw it in passing. I don't recall all of it, but it did have a little bit of both in there.
Yeah, so that's the first thing that needs to be stated. Classic example would be Tim Tebow. great all-time college quarterback, a not so good NFL quarterback, even though he went 7-4 as the starting quarterback in the NFL. And I would argue that who has ever gone 7-4 as the starting quarterback in the NFL and never been given a shot? But we know great defense and support and so forth. So I'm not saying that he was a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL, but that's the first thing I ask when anybody brings up that age-old question: who produces the best NFL players? Well, were we talking about them as NFL players? We talking about them as collegiate players? Because of course, as soon as you said Ken Dorsey on the third team, I thought, okay, this is either a combination or it's as collegians, because of course, the likes of Steve Walsh and Craig Erickson were decent NFL players beyond what Ken Dorsey was in the NFL.
Exactly. So we just named 5 quarterbacks that were not mentioned that could have been on the second or third teams for Miami. And again, for me, whichever way you want to go, college or pro, the answer is Miami. But continue.
Of course it is. I would have to delve a little bit deeper, but obviously I was actually walking with a guy who said, he brought it up to me and I didn't even know what was going on. And he said, yeah, I see this breakdown we're doing on NFL Live, blah, blah, blah. And he mentions Ohio State and Miami. That must have been the matchup at the time. And I think they finally grinded it down to Miami USC and they gave it to USC. He made the comment, Miami's pretty much just a quick deal. And I used your term, Cam, I stole it from you. I said it's a microwave dynasty. I said, all of that production minus the outliers like a Jim Otto. Was O.J. Anderson even mentioned? He's Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Yeah, MVP. Exactly. Like, bro,
he just came to mind as being outside of the dynasty years.
Yeah, but still, NFL Hall of Famer.
Sure.
Like, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. Like, yo, you know what I mean? Like, there's, like, even if you, like, peel back the onion and you go a couple layers down from, like, the names that everybody knows. And the thing about it is, there are names that everybody knows at every position level. Names, plural. Like, that's, but it is a microwave dynasty. I mean, you said it because I said it. I said it because somebody else said it, which was a perfect term.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I will give the slight edge to USC because they've been doing it longer at this caliber level. But even still, if you reach back, Jamato, Ted Hendricks, Jim Burt.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you go back, like, yeah. I mean, there's still guys. There's just not the preponderance in the, 50s, 60s, early 70s from Miami that there were from USC. But yeah.